Assalamu alaikum students. I am Amna Manzoor, your chemistry teacher, and today we are going to start the new topic alkanes. Yesterday we have studied the introduction of organic chemistry and the history of organic chemistry, how the organic compounds were obtained for the very first time, how these compounds were prepared in the laboratory for the first time, what are the hydrocarbons, and now we are going to start the new homologous series called alkanes. Alkanes, I just explained you yesterday that these are the hydrocarbons and is the simplest homologous series of the organic compounds. Today we are going to discuss a little bit more explanation of the alkanes. Alkanes are basically the simplest hydrocarbons. They are, I'm giving you simple short key points so that you can understand the topic easily. Alkanes are basically simplest hydrocarbons. Okay, now simplest hydrocarbons, by the word simplest hydrocarbon means they have only carbons and hydrogens. No other element is present in the simple alkanes. Now, the second key point is they are saturated. Saturated means they have all the single bonds, means sigma bonds. There are two kind of bonds. One is sigma and the other one is pi. We just simply use the word single and the double bond. Single bond for sigma and double and triple for the pi bonds. So in the simple hydrocarbons, I mean the alkanes, they are all having sigma bonds in them, and because of this reason they are called saturated hydrocarbons. And this one property is basically making alkanes very inert and very least reactive. This one is the point we are going to explain later in detail. Now the third point is formula. Just in mathematics, you use simple general formulas to calculate the equations. Simply, we have a general formula for the representation of alkanes. By using that formula, you can actually calculate the whole molecular formula of the compound. For example, the formula is CnH2n plus 2. This one is the formula used for the calculation, for the representation of the alkanes. Whenever you see this formula, it means we are talking about the simplest hydrocarbons, means we are talking about the alkanes. Now, C for carbon, H is representing hydrogen. The number 2 is a simple whole number, natural number. The thing that is unknown or that is variable here over here is the alphabet N. N is basically number of carbon atoms in the backbone. Backbone of what? Backbone of the alkane. Means the number of carbon is basically a thing that is fluctuating. So when the carbon number is fluctuating, respectively the number of hydrogen will change, so on. So if we have a carbon of 1, you know the number 1 is not represented in the cases. So if we have a 1 carbon compound, that number of hydrogen will be 2 into 1 plus 2. It means C, 2 1 are 2 plus 2 4. CH4. This is the simplest compound. 1 carbon compound. I told you about the prefixes and the suffixes yesterday. So if this is 1 carbon compound, the prefix was meth, and alkanes, the suffix was ane. So means CH4 is basically the very first member of the alkanes, and the name of the compound is methane. The molecular formula is CH4 and the structural formula is CH4. This is the very first compound of the homologous series called alkanes. If we take the number 2, C2H 2 into 2. This is the number 2. This is the number 2 of the formula, and this 2 is representing the variable n plus 2 again. So if we have carbon number 2, the number of hydrogens will be 2 into 2, 4 plus 2, 6. The number of hydrogen atoms will be 6. How is the case? These are the two carbon atoms. Each carbon atom is bonded to the other one by a single bond called sigma bond. Now complete the 4 bonds of each carbon atom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now calculate the number of hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can say that this formula is actually correct. Now as the number of carbon is representing 2, the series of prefixes we discussed, the 2 carbon compound was called with the prefix eth and placing the suffix of it as ane. So this compound is basically named as ethane. The second number compound, 2 carbon compound of the alkane series is called ethane, and so on. If you use the third carbon element, means the 3 chain carbon element compound, that will be called propane, butane, and so on. You just have to vary the number of carbon atoms and practice these compounds with the structural formulas and then molecular formulas at home, so that you can identify each of these compounds very easily. Now moving towards the next step. The very next point is the physical properties of alkanes. Now, let's just talk about the physical properties. So as you all know, the physical properties depend very much on the physical appearance. Like if we are talking about the physical properties like boiling point, if we're talking about the melting point, if we are talking about refractive index and such points. So physical properties are basically the properties that depend very much on the physical appearance of the compound that we are considering. Let's say if we are talking about some solid, obviously it will have a specific kind of melting point. After melting, when the whole of the solid is being converted into a liquid, it will start boiling. So it will have a higher melting point and then a boiling point and so on. If we talk about the physical properties of alkanes, we just need to consider the physical appearance of the alkanes. And for that purpose, there is a table in your book that shows that first 4 members of the series means methane to butane. Methane to butane. These are the compounds that are gaseous in nature. Means first 4 members of the alkane homologous series are basically gaseous in nature. Means they are going to have very low boiling and melting points. They will have different kind of characteristics, so on. So I'm just telling that methane to butane are the compounds which are gases, and these gases are odorless, like they are not having any kind of smell. You cannot smell that gases. Now the basic question that students arise over here is, ma'am, if the are odorless, then how can we smell the methane gas? Because methane is basically the gas used in the houses for the purpose of burning and cooking, for cooking purposes. So how can we smell that methane gas if they are odorless? So the basic answer is, while the refining and while different processing of the methane gas, that specific odor, specific kind of smell has been given to the methane gas by purpose, so that because this methane gas is flammable, it can cause fire, and if available in huge amount, it can cause different kind of blasts and explosions. So For that purpose, they are provided with simple kind of odor, a specific odor, so that it can be identified that there is some methane in the air, so that we have to be very careful. Either it may not get any kind of flame or anything like that. But the basic thing is that methane to butane are the gases. They do not have any kind of odor. They do not have any kind of taste. They cannot be smelled. Moving towards the next, from pentane to next 13 members of the series are liquid in nature. They are present in its liquid form. And after those, the remaining whole of the series is composed of solid hydrocarbons. So we have to be very much careful and be very much clarify about what kind of physical appearance they do have. First of all, gases, then the liquids, and further ones are the solids. Why these physical appearance of the homologous series is changing? The reason basically is this unit. This unit is the basic cause of the increase, and it's, what is this unit? I can represent simply this as CH3 and this line. This line is representing that one bond of the unit is missing, because carbon is going to form 4 bonds. 3 of the bonds are being formed with the hydrogen atom. 1 is missing. So this unit, this basic term called as methyl, when added to the homologous series, it will increase the chain. It will increase the backbone. By increasing the backbone, by increasing the chain, it will automatically increase its molecular weight, increase its chain length, increase the structure. And if all these things are increasing, the number of branches may also increase if the compound is branched. So there may be more and more overlapping. And as the overlapping increases, gases got converted into liquids, and liquids got converted into solids, and so on. The more and the more is overlapping of the compound, of the chains, the more stronger will be the bonding, more and more higher will be the melting and boiling points. But the simple cases, they are not as that much having higher melting and boiling points. Now, just let me explain you this unit. If I am having a compound, let's say 3-membered carbon compound, hydrocarbon, CH3, CH2, and CH3. This simple compound is called propane. So let's just say that we are going to add 1 unit in it. If we are going to add unit at the terminal position, it will be added as CH3. If we have to add in between, it will be added as CH2, like this. So just say we are adding CH2 and CH3 is moved over here. Now this is not a propane anymore. A whole unit, you can say a building block of the series have been added. Now calculate the number of carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there are 4 carbon atoms. It means we are having a butane now. I hope I'm clear over here. Now moving towards the next point, functional group. As I told you, that functional group is basically any kind of element, any atom, group of atoms, any kind of bond or something that is giving some specific kind of properties to the whole family, the whole homologous series. So what is the functional group present in the alkanes? So in the alkanes, the functional group is basically carbon-carbon single bond. You can say this is the identification of the alkanes. You are going to have only carbon and hydrogen in the family, and all the carbon to carbon bonds are single. There can be no double bonding with the hydrogen bonding. As you all know, hydrogen is going to form only one bond. Just one is its capacity. So carbon is going to form one bond with the other carbon atom. This is the identification of the alkanes. The second is you can calculate the formula. If it is fulfilling the conditions of this formula, CnH2n plus 2, so it is definitely the compound we are considering is alkane. Let's say we are having a different kind of situation when we find this unit in the compound. It means it is not an alkane anymore. Now the functional group has been changed. This functional group is basically representing a pi bond, a double bond, which is the identification of another homologous series called alkenes. The numbers, so number of single bond and double bond may vary. There may be a one double bond, two double bond, three, and so on. But if we have just one, at least one of the double bond is here, it means the series have been changed. Now we are not having alkane anymore, we have alkene. So the new functional group we have studied today is alkene, and the third one is alkyne, which is carbon to carbon triple bond. Now be just very much careful while considering the compound. If we are having all the carbon to carbon single bonds, means sigma saturated bonds, the compound is saturated one and is alkane. If we are having at least one double bond, no matter all the remaining bonds are single or double, whatever the case is, if we are having one double bond at least, the series is alkenes. If we are having at least one triple bond, we have alkyne. If we are having both the double and the triple in the same compound, we will simply consider the compound as an unsaturated one, because it falls in both the categories, alkenes and alkynes as well. Let me just give you an example of it. Let's say we have a five-membered carbon compound. If all the single bonds are there, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five-membered prefix was pent. If all these bonds are single, it is ane. If we have at least one double bond, it is pentene. I'm not representing all the other bonds. Just be very careful. Keep it in your mind that all these other bonds are of hydrogen, like this. If this is the case, it is pentane. If we remove, let's say, one bond from here and one from here. Now 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Both of these carbon are lacking one bond. They are going to form a double bond. It is a pentene now. If we say 1 and 1, two double bonds are there, it means it is pentadiene now, means two double bonds are there. We are going to represent the double bonds and the number of double bonds there. If we consider the nomenclature more in detail, we are going to give the numbers to the chain, and we are going to make the specify the number of or you can see the position of double bond, but that doesn't matter right now. You just need to be very careful about the functional group, that if all the single bonds are there, these are alkanes. If we have double bonds, these are alkenes, and alkenes, if just having one double bond, that is simple ene. If we are having two double bonds, that is diene. If three, triene, and so on. Let's say we are having triple bond over here, just like this one. So it is not an alkane, it is not an alkene. Now this one is called alkyne now, because it is having a triple bond over here. These are the functional groups that we studied today. So let me just give you a review about the functional groups that we studied yesterday and today. Yesterday we just studied the functional group carbon-carbon single bond. it was called alkane. If we are having carbon-carbon double bond, it will be called alkene. If we have carbon to carbon triple bonds, it will be called as alkyne. If we have ROH, we have alcohol. So these are the four functional groups that we have just studied till now. Carbon to carbon, all the single bonds, sigma bonds, that is alkene, 1 pi bond, alkane, double one, alkene, triple bond, alkyne. If having OH group, that is alcohol. And don't get yourself confused by watching this R. This R is representing the homologous series, the chain of the compound that is present over here. Clear? Now we are moving towards the next topic, that is isomerism. As we studied about the hydrocarbons just right now, and we studied their nomenclature and the structural formulas, there is a term called isomerism. Iso is a word that means same, and merism is a term that means form. What the isomerism are basically used for? Isomerism is a term, or you can say it is a phenomena in which we are going to differentiate between the compounds of having a simple molecular formula, but their structures are going to vary one by one. For example, I say if I am having a compound, simplest compound, first member of the series, that is CH4. Now I'm going to draw the structure of it, CH4. You can see there is only one carbon. You cannot make any kind of differences, whether it's structure or any other thing. If we are going to use 2 carbon compound, that is C2H6, still we cannot do any kind of changes with it. Moving towards the 3 carbon, C6H8. Now 3 carbon is such a compound, still you cannot make any kind of differences with it. So we can say that phenomenon of isomerism doesn't operate in the first 3 members. Like we said that first 4 members are the gases and then liquids and solids. Simply isomerism is basically a phenomena that doesn't operate in first 3 members of the alkanes. Now if we move towards the 4-membered compound, that is butane. This one, it can be varied. Its molecular formula is C4H10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbon atoms are there in the backbone. Calculate the number of hydrogen atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There are 4 carbon atoms and 10 hydrogen atoms are over there. Now you can basically calculate the isomers of this compound. Isomerism is a phenomena that basically operates in hydrocarbons starting from butane. So it is the first member of the series that will be giving us different kind of isomerism. What are the isomers? They will be having molecular formula which is exactly the same, means molecular formula is not going to be different at all, but different structural formulas. Now, how these formulas can be changed? If I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th membered ring, I can write this as, this was a straight chain compound. I can convert this into a branch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is still a 4-membered compound. It still has same number of hydrogen atoms. It still has same of the properties, but the structure have been differentiated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see again the number of hydrogens are the same. Number of carbon atoms are same. Number of hydrogen atoms are the same. But the arrangement of the atoms in the plane and the compound and the structure of the compound have been changed. Now, it was if N-butane means straight chain butane. You can call this one is isobutane, or you can also say this as 2-methyl propyl. Means how you can say this: 1, 2, 3. The chain is of propane. This one is methyl group. You can say that this methyl has been located on the carbon 2 position. You can say 2-methyl propane. 2-methyl propane. This unit, as I told you, CH3 unit is called methyl. If one of the hydrogen has been removed from methane, it is called methyl. 2-methyl. 2 is representing the the position of methyl group. 1, 2, 3. On the chain, it is present in the second carbon. So 2-methyl propane is an other name of the compound called butane. And butane means it is in the chain form, and 2-methyl propane means it is butane compound, but it has its structure different from the simple straight chain compound. So these are basically called the isomers of each other. Let me just give you another example of pentane. If we have 5 carbon member, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5-membered ring. I'll complete the bonding later on. Now, just vary the chain length. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, 5th carbon can be used as a branch. If we are going to make it over here, it is the same. Molecular formula is definitely the same, but the structural formula have been changed. Let's use another one. Use this 3-member. Now 2 carbons are remaining. 1, 2. This is again the same pentane molecule, but the structure have been changed. Now if you complete the hydrogen bonding, you will see that the number of hydrogen atoms are same in each of these. Though the molecule looks smaller and smaller, but still the number of hydrogen atoms will be same, because carbon has to justify its bonding as well. So these are basically called the isomers of each other. Now one very important point that you guys need to consider is, if we change the structure, no doubt the molecular formula remains same, but by changing the structural formula, some of the properties of the compounds ultimately changes. Now what these properties are? I told you that functional group is basically a thing that is responsible for the chemical nature or the chemical bonding, right? So chemical bonding will not be affected that much unless the overlapping is so much constructed that it creates some inert kind of behavior for the molecule, or some complex kind of overlapping have been done. So basically the chemical properties are not changed so much, but the physical properties, they are not same anymore. They definitely change. So if we are going to have the process of isomerism and we study about the isomers, so we definitely say that for the isomers, if one isomer is different from the other one by its structure, so ultimately it means its physical appearances have been changed somehow. Its physical properties will be changed. Chemical properties are not changed in 99% cases, and the reason is the functional group have not been changed. I'm talking about this case. If you are having a compound of alcohol So what is the basic reason for the chemical reaction? This ROH. If ROH is there, either it is in the terminal position or it is somewhere in between the chain like this one. In both cases, the basic reaction is going to happen by this OH group. OH has not been changed. The functional group is still on its position. So it means there will be no kind of change in the chemical behavior. There will be no difference in the chemical reactions and so on. In this case, what do we have to do is we need to consider that whenever the isomers are there, there will be change in the physical properties, but there will be no change in the chemical properties. I tried hard, but we cannot complete the topic of alkanes. We still have some of the points like melting and boiling points, how they fluctuate, and the chemical properties like combustion and so on. So we'll discuss those points later on, inshallah. I have given you a worksheet that will be provided to you in some time. Just make sure to solve that worksheet, and if you have any kind of problem, do contact me and try to solve the compounds by their naming, by the structural formulas as much as you can. Thank you so much.